The Chiefs need to add running backs. We know this. Last week, we talked about Quinshon Judkins out of Ohio State, formerly of Ole Miss, about being one of the prospects to be looking out for in terms of who the Chiefs could add with some explosiveness to his game. We're going to go a little bit of a different direction today because while I don't think he has the most explosiveness in the world, Devin Neal, one, is a local product out of Kansas, a player you've all watched predominantly for the most part, whether it's against Kansas State or against Missouri, local players, whatever it is, you've seen Devin Neal on your screens. He has been a consistent producer at Kansas University his entire career, and something has to be said about that. So we're going to dive into the tape of one of the most productive running backs in this 2025 draft class right now. Welcome in, everybody. This is RGR Football. My name is Daniel Harms, senior film analyst, and today, like I said, we are diving into one of the most productive players in college football at the running back position. That is Devin Neal, and we are sponsored by Underdog. We'll get to that in a little bit here, but you guys know the drill. If you're new to the channel, please hit that sub button right now so we can learn together, one, about football, try to have a little bit of fun doing it, watching a little bit of tape, seeing what we can glean from it, and then allow me to earn a like from you guys as we work our way through this tape. So let's go ahead, jump in for Devin Neal, the running back out of Kansas. We're going to start off with a two-play sequence against BYU. This is something that I really appreciate about his game, and this is what an NFL team is going to get. You're not going to see the most explosive guy in the world. You're not going to see the most, giving you home run hits here and there. What you're going to see is a guy who executes plays, who does a great job reading blocks, getting to his reads, and making the most out of what's there. Every now and then you're going to see him make a guy miss, get a broken tackle, and then everything's going to be just peachy keen. Right here, you got outside zone going to the left. So you have the offensive lines all triggering down to their right with that detached tight end. You're going to see number 70 here get blown into the backfield, and this is where you're going to see the read and the vision from Devin Neal come in on the screen here. So again, you're going to have the outstretched motion to the right-hand side, and that's going to give you the natural cutback lane, something you're looking for. So right there, sorry, it wasn't 70, it was 61. 70 swam over him, and that's where you see 61 have to make a more of a tough block trying to get downhill as that player's coming up. So again, we already have positional advantage for BYU in terms of making sure this run does not get to the outside where Kansas wants to go. You have a pursuit defender here coming off the edge where he should be condensing, really reducing and trying to take that away. But what you're going to notice is Devin Neal here, again, is not just reading this pressure right here. He feels it, sure. He's reading this guy right here. This is where his eyes are going because he knows number 75 is going to be more of a hook block right here. So he's going to have a natural cutback lane right there that he's going to get into. He does a nice job of getting to it, finding it, and then you see that presence, right? The defender flashes into that gap, and then you see him stop. It's not like totally stop, it's hesitate, right? Get square, use your abilities to create arm tackles and create different angles for himself. So on this outside zone play, you see everything you want in terms of vision and then the ability to kind of get where he wants to go. Find the cutback lane. All right, we're going to go upfield here. I have a defender flashing right there. So I have to find a way to create something different, which is exactly what he does. He stops, he squares himself up, and then he creates an arm tackle from this unblocked defender. So he squares, and then he lowers his shoulder a little bit and angles his body out of the way, makes the guy bounce off of him, and then he goes forward, right? So it turns into a 2nd and 3. Where you see he's going to turn this into a touchdown because of, again, patience, vision, and understanding the blocks as they unfold and lining them up. You've got a little bit of counter inside. 45 comes across, then they bring another man in motion. And they're going to stop right here and lead block here, and then number 45 comes through. So it's a counter play. Nice little design for Kansas here on this play. Again, you've got everyone blocking down right here, and then they're going to counter around, which is what they want to do. And Devin Neal, again, right now he's reading blocks. So he's reading number 11. All right, I want to see where you go. He's got 47 out in front. Now we've got a hole, right? I can come off the block here, around here, or I can go inside, and that's where you see the decisions being made. He makes the right decision 95% of the time. He knows exactly how to do that. And again, shimmies in the hole, stops, makes a linebacker come to him. And then again, he angles his body out of the way, puts his shoulder down, and he's able to fall into the end zone for a touchdown. So this two-play sequence is what he's bringing to an NFL team. He has the right mentality. He understands what to do with his own skill set. He knows how to execute things at a very high level. And then even though he lacks explosivity, like we're going to see right here, getting into space, you don't necessarily need to do that to create chunk plays as we've seen in the NFL. Guys who don't have the most top end speed or the best 10-yard splits in the combine can still create plays that are explosive like this one. It's more about understanding the blocking schemes. Now, when it comes to his fit in Kansas City, he's a good zone blocker. He's a good zone runner, and he does execute and get what's there. But we also understand that the Chiefs cannot generate explosive runs. Even with Isaiah Pacheco, it's few and far in between because of the vision problems. So the Chiefs, if they were to draft a guy like Devin Neal, would most likely look to pair him with an explosive running back, either in this draft or going forward. But what we're seeing here from Devin Neal, again, is the execution factor. You've got a little bit of split zone right here where you have the tight end come across, block down. Again, his patience at the line of scrimmage to find this cutback lane, or this lane in general, where he again gets into space. He sees number 18 here. We got arm tackle. We don't have to worry about that. So he's going to come this way. And this is where you see the understanding of his own abilities, right? If this was a different running back, as more explosive, he'd be around the end and gone. He'd be gone for a touchdown, even cutting back right here like he does into space. He would use that secondary explosiveness and get into it and be gone for a touchdown. But he does not have that. It's not there. I don't know what happened from 2 years ago to now, but Devin Neal, yeah, he's bulked up about 213 pounds at the combine. He probably played closer to 220 pounds, but you see at 5'11", 213 pounds, 220 pounds, he has decent movement skills, but he does lack that top gear where he's going to create big explosive touchdowns, and he's not going to be able to do that. What we also know in Kansas City is that with defenses that play those two high shells, you're going to have more bodies in the secondary. So you might see a lack of 20, even 30-yard gains in this offense with a Devin Neal. But overall, we want to focus on what he does well and what actually translates. You've got more outside zone here. And this is, again, more of the decision-making process where you always find that cutback lane. You create positive angles for your own body, and where you see guys fall off. He's not going to be – now, he's got good contact balance, but he's not going to generate a ton of missed tackles and pure run guys over. He doesn't run with a ton of power. What he does run with is a really good understanding of his own body, the little bit of lateral agility you see there. We'll go back again. You see that natural ability, right? He just kind of understands angles and how to access everything he wants to. The stop and start ability is good. He can stop this way and then go this way and then again create different angles. He's going to be able to get into space here because of the different ways he understands that, right? And then when you talk about being square, a lot of times you see running backs just kind of bolt into players and kind of bounce and do all of that. We saw that a little bit with Quinshon Judkins, where he didn't always run behind his pads. He didn't always square up, but when he did, you saw the ability to just put guys in the ground. Devin Neal's not going to have that to his game. He doesn't have those type of physical traits. He won't run guys over and just be that type of battering ram. But what he does, again, create arm tackles. When you square yourself up at the line of scrimmage or when someone's about to tackle you, you bring them to you. And then you see how he waits a second and then moves. So if someone's coming at him right here, like you see, he stopped right here. When this defender's coming at him right here, and now he's over here. So you have to create a different angle. You're creating arm tackles, and you're creating better leverage points for you as a runner to be able to continue to move into space. So that's what he does at a very high level with his vision, his ability to find those cutback lanes, and then getting into space is still going to be a very important thing for him, where you're not going to see the explosiveness, but you're going to see just a really raw understanding and execution of the plays. You got a little bit of crunch right here from Kansas. You're going to move guys here, just double team to the second level, and then you have that there. So we're creating space at the line of scrimmage for Devin Neal so he can get in there and then maximize it, right? That's the idea for Devin Neal, is while maybe in the backfield, if you get tackled, if you see a defender get into the backfield, he might not be able to make them miss and then get out in front of it for a big gain. What he's going to do is mitigate the loss, right? He mitigates those things. He makes that first guy miss with his footwork. his intention, his body language, and then the vision, right? Being able to find different things, what he's reading, and then make those decisions based off of that. So you see right here, watch number 45. This is exactly the person that Devin Neal is reading too, because this is a space vacated area, right? He's going to see number 45 completely leave his area. And then when you have that crunch on right there, again, he's got eyes right there. You see, he's looking directly at this guy right now. He's looking right there. And as soon as 45 comes, excuse me, as soon as he comes around here, boom, he's gone. He's like, all right, cool. You vacate that area. I'm going to get into it, because he understands space and he has that field vision to do so. So all in all, what we see from who doesn't necessarily have the explosiveness to be able to execute at that type of creating huge chunk gains and big moving touchdowns like that. What we do see is a guy who's going to be able to come in and execute at that high of a level and maintain that level throughout his time in Kansas City if he were to be drafted there. So really good runner. But right now we're going to take a break and we're going to listen to a little bit of talk about Underdog, because I'm going to actually change things up this week. I've had a pretty rough patch over the last couple times, but you guys know, be a part of this. You don't even have to tail this with me. You can join Underdog using the code RGR at sign up and get up to $1,000 deposit bonus on your first deposit, and then just have fun. There's constant things in the lobby with percentage increases on your pick'em slips. You get like a 50% bonus on your pick'ems. So what I like to do is, now what I've really gone back to, what I started to have success with the first time, is pick 2 of them, and then maybe I increase the amount of money that I put in, because you're only trying to get 2. And it is now Masters week, so we are going to do a little bit of golf, PGA, Underdog pick'ems, and I'm only going to choose 2. I have a couple guys in mind. Typically, when it comes to the Masters, you don't have a ton of guys that can absolutely win. So you stick to the top with guys that you think will do well. And then for other players that are near the middle or the bottom, you can really try to hone in on them and see how they'll perform. One guy I've got my eye on is Bryson DeChambeau, who I do believe can get -1 in the very first round. That's one thing that I like very much. Even par for this tournament is 72. So we're talking about a player who has just won a U.S. Open last year. He's coming in with pretty good form. I know he didn't have a great showing at the last Live tournament in terms of he was leading in the second round and then just bottomed out in the last round. But we know he's a big game hunter. So I like Bryson to go higher, lower than 71.5, not higher. I think he can absolutely hit that. And then another player that I also kind of like this week is John Rahm, 70. So we're talking about -2. I don't really know if I can get there with him, but I do think another player that I'm not as confident on, both live players, is Brooks Koepka. Does not have good form coming into the Masters. He's not played well on live this year. It looks like he's disinterested. And we're talking about even par. I think he might even go higher than that. So two things right here. And again, you guys don't even have to tail these pick'ems with me, these slips, but I've got lower on Bryson DeChambeau at 71.5, and then higher on Brooks Koepka at 71.5 as well. I think those are 2 good numbers to go with for this week at the Masters. Again, use the code RGR to sign up and start playing today with that up to $1,000 bonus deposit bonus when you sign up right now. So let's go ahead, jump back into the tape. Wow, we talk about Devin Neal once again. The space navigation, right? You might not be the most explosive guy in the world, but I do think that what he does well is with his eyes. That is the most elite asset that he brings to the table, is his field vision and being able to execute. When you got a pitch right here, okay, you got the football. Now, making quick decisions and processing very quickly, he understands the motion of the defense, right? You've got player here, player here. So if everybody else is kind of maybe coming this way and you've got a big mass of bodies right here, right? And then you have a defender here with his back to the football and then a block out here. Naturally, as a space player, you understand that I'm going to be able to navigate this with as much space as in front of me. So again, vision, he's able to kind of navigate right here into the end zone. And I had to include some of the games that he played in Arrowhead Stadium. You know, I'm not going to call it the other thing because we all know what this actually is, but that's what it takes, right? This is what you see with the field vision and where he's able to access different spots in different places in the field without that top end speed, without the burst. You do see, again, just that stop, the ability to lower his hips a little bit, get into space, and then, you know, cut here, cut there. Not the best athlete in the world either. Like, he's not going to blow you away with his jump cuts, his lateral agility. He's going to make some guys miss here and there, but overall, you see what he brings to the table. And it's not just a runner, it's a complete skill set. He has natural soft hands as a pass catcher. And again, you see just a little lateral jump here, little lateral jump there. They leak him out to the left-hand side of the offense. It comes back. He makes a nice little catch right here. He will catch the ball away from his frame. He's got, again, soft hands, and he's able to kind of figure out how to move with the ball in his hands after that. So as a guy who's going to be a good asset in the passing game, I don't think, we're talking about a guy who's going to be used like Kareem Hunt was, in terms of you see him going down the seam and catching deep balls, but executing plays like this where you leak him out to the side. He's a good flat defender, check down player, and also executing screens. Like you just saw with the pitch, when he has space in front of him, he can really get in there and execute at a high level. So getting behind his blocks, setting them up, I do think that those are things that he's going to bring to the table. This is where the Devin Neal stuff comes in terms of him not being the best athlete, and where I do worry about him at the next level. You see, getting into space, he can do. I think that when we see him against NFL caliber players, you're going to see this more often than you see what we've already seen, where he's able to make guys miss in that short area, the phone booth, as they call it. This is just a really nice tackle from the Kansas State defender, but you see he's in space and he does what he's supposed to do, right? He catches the football. He's going to make the defender think he's going this way so he can get a better angle, right? So he can come around here and make him miss. And unfortunately, he just doesn't do enough to be able to make him miss. And NFL talent, NFL players, NFL athletes, right, with long arms that can change directions better than you can, I think you're going to catch him in open space more than I'd like to see. So while he's going to be a good check down player, he's probably not going to make a ton of guys miss, and it's a concern for me. I'm a little concerned about him at his running guys over, breaking tackles in the NFL, making guys miss in the NFL, and overall being that explosive player in the passing game. That he's just a good player, a safe player as a passer, but also he provides you some of this. And while the technique and the willingness to do so is all there, I think that he's a little passive at times as a pass protector, but he's got, again, good build at 5'10", 213, 220 pounds, probably where he's going to end up playing at, maybe a little bit in between there. Hopefully he loses a little bit of weight, because I think that previously to this last year, he was a little bit under 213, 210, maybe 205. And you could see some of that explosiveness in his game. And like I said, I'm not entirely sure what happened to it, but he did bulk up, it looks like. You see he's a thick lower half. You can see it's filled out well. He's just kind of filled out well. I was talking to Sterling Holmes, who has talked to him in person, and he's mentioned that he's built very well. So you do see a lot of that. And I do apologize about what's going on with the choppiness of the video today. My apologies there. But you see, as a pass protector, one of the things that I really appreciate is the willingness to do so. He needs to be a little more aggressive, finding that happy medium between being passive and being aggressive. Because if you're too passive, you're going to get bowled over. If you're too aggressive, linebackers are going to slip by you, and you're not going to be able to block them. So you see he makes the right read. He does, again, a good job with his eyes. Got to get a little bit more aggressive here. Try to find a better way to get your hands on this linebacker and not pop off, right? You want to be able to do a good job of that. But here you see the relocate. He comes back around, and he's going to block down here and put him to the ground. That's, again, the effort to want to pass protect. I think he brings all of that. So in terms of a guy like Kareem Hunt, who's already on the roster and is a good pass protector, that's the kind of mold you're looking at right now. I think Kareem's got obviously far more experience and more understanding of how to be a better pass protector, but this is where you want Devin Neal to learn. So he's willing, he's able, and he can bring all of that to the game. And at the end of the day, right, he would look very good in Kansas City. He would need to be at the lead of a committee. Again, I think that you can have him do all the different things on third down that you want him to do. It's more about the explosivity, right? They still need to change the pace back. And while he's going to do a great job in this offense, he fits exactly what Andy Reid's looking for with his vision and the ability to pass protect, having soft hands out of the backfield, and execute those plays, making the right decision time after time after time. It's what he does. This would be exactly what it is. You have that split zone. Look, right here, he's coming down. It's about making the right decision. And he does. He makes the right decision, understanding, okay, counting defenders, basically. I've got one out here. Okay, if I go this way, he's going to be able to probably get me down. But there's nobody over here. There's nobody here. He sees that extremely quickly and extremely well. I do think he should play a tad faster, just a little bit faster, because he does prioritize stopping pressing gaps at the line of scrimmage. Every now and then, hit a hole. Just hit the hole and you can get it going. Right here, he should already be pressing to the outside. Doesn't have to really press to the line of scrimmage there. So just overall, Devin Neal, what is he going to bring? Vision, executing the play. He's going to have good contact balance. He will fall forward. Is he going to always be the best breaking tackles and making guys miss in space? No, he'll still bring you some of that. He'll still bowl a guy over in some of the short yardage situations. He can execute in the short yardage and in the red zone. That's something, again, it's more about his vision than anything, where you see he's able to process the blocks, set them up very well. And then you want to be able to execute in boxes that are lighter than what you see in college. And the Chiefs are going to have predominantly light boxes. So when you have less defenders in that first area, it allows him to get into the second levels and third levels of the defense much easier. So he's got good footwork. He presses the line of scrimmage. He's always square. And then he does a really nice job of angling his body to create arm tackles and then putting himself in great positions to get the most out of plays that are blocked. He's not going to be the biggest deep threat, right? He's not going to take the ball all the way 60 plus yards on a regular basis. That's not his game. You see the execution stuff, and that's something that the Chiefs haven't really had until Kareem Hunt was in Kansas City last year. So all in all, good fit, a very good fit, and he wouldn't need a more explosive complement to really maximize what the Chiefs can do. But Devin Neal makes a lot of sense for the Kansas City Chiefs if he were to be there come April. So, excuse me, it's come draft. It's already April. I hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown. And please, if you are new to the RGR channel, hit that sub button. I do these every single week where we dive into the tape. And as we get out of draft season, I'll be doing some deeper dives into maybe something like where Patrick Mahomes struggled last year, the deep ball. Are we going to see a resurgence in that? So please come on board at RGR, stick along, and help us continue to build and bring you guys the best content that we possibly can. Enjoy the rest of your week. We will have more videos for you. Ryan is currently recovering from his sickness. It is a stressful time for us right here as we're building the draft guide. And so we've gotten sick a few times. Hopefully you guys can bear with us as we continue to bring you all the content we can. Not just have a great rest of your week. Have a great day today. Go be great, and I'll see you guys next time.